should have brought. Well, but I had that open. Hello, everybody. Okay, so um, first off, I want to admit that I am feeling a little lethargic and not necessarily under the weather, but I had a fairly busy day yesterday, and when things have been a bit slower, as much as it's nice to have those kind of days, it's you know it. And actually, I did find the answer to that workshop, for instance. It it's something to kind of work with, and that um, I was actually today is today is um, actually pretty. It's gotten pretty sunny out in the past 30-40 minutes. I was going to do an errand, but I'll probably just do it on the weekend because it's predicting on and off rain, and I don't drive. And lots of successful and great people don't drive. I know that some people that may be a little bit I don't think prestigious is the word I'm looking for, but just I was watching someone's live, and it's just a reminder of, although I was also watching some good ones, of how stern, um, uptight, judgy some people can be, and a lot of them may not even recognize it. I mean, it's obvious to others, but they don't, either they don't recognize it or they don't care. If they don't recognize it, it might be worth taking a moment to ask thyself, could I possibly be those ways? And also, not everyone will tell you, but some people probably have, if that's the case. And I don't mean to start this off by like, you know, um, um, picking at someone's, weak strengths or weak areas, or maybe habit patterns that could use a little bit of working with. But I mean, we're all a work in progress, and I mean, this shirt says it all. I think, and or not all. It doesn't say it all, but and it's funny. The other day, somebody asked if they could take, and it reads properly on the screen. I think at least it does on my end, so that's good. If they could take a picture of my chest, and of course, my response was kind of something to the effect of, "Well, that sounded kind of funny," but no, I mean, although I did see somebody, and there was a couple of things that reminded me of a friend, but I did see somebody that was getting into an adapted wheelchair car the other day, though. But um, it's expensive, first of all, and one can sometimes be a little anxious with the way some people drive, um, and it would have been a really helpful thing to uh, to do. And when I was in high school, I did try to get my license, but I didn't quite pass the written, so I didn't get to do the other part. And then I got out of high school, moved to a city where busing was pretty popular. Now I hardly ever do it for the past few years, but I used to do it a lot, and it was different then in a lot of ways. I know that may sound weird, but it's true. Um, and but it worked for me, so I didn't really need to do anything else. So, and these days not looking, but I mean, aside from that, it's kind of like still the other reasons. Anywho, why am I talking about? Oh, right. So I can't go do my errands because uh, I'm worried that. Well, first of all, physically, I'm not too sure I'm feeling up to it. Walking around in a store and carrying a bunch of stuff home today. Today, right now, I'm not, at my, you know, worst with the arthritis and such. But and then also, if it was to start raining, I can't on the umbrella and a bunch of reviews. And And last night, was it last? No, I think I was looking for at a couple of days ahead. But as of today, it said that it was supposed to rain, and it almost seems like it's slowly clouding up a little bit, even if the window doesn't look like it. But I just feel like I looked today, and on the actual day, you know, how could it be wrong? But maybe. I don't know. I don't know. If it is nice, I wouldn't mind, but it's nothing super urgent. Anyway, but the other reason that I'm doing this, um, the other reason that I'm doing this is because it may have been Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. I was watching what someone I subscribed to, and uh, he's seen he's seen one or two of mine in the past, I think, and I I don't remember exactly how it transpired, but seems like it easily enough would. And I'd said something about coming to check out my channel, and we kind of arranged a time while he was live. Is how it kind of happened, and he said he couldn't do a certain time, and there's a time difference. There's a time zone difference, but I believe he said he could do 9 or 10 my time, and I'd almost forgotten. Like I say, there's this way that you can scroll through live streams, but I only seem to be able to do it on the cell phone. Well, I haven't tried maybe more than once on the laptop, but I mean on the cell phone, fine enough, I guess. But it seems like I can only do it sometimes, like where you could like have it on like full screen and then just scroll through. And when I do that, I like I think I watched three I was unfamiliar with and one I was familiar with today. Um, and I tuned out of that one. Okay. I tuned out of that one because as I was watching it, for some reason that was when it dawned on me. Oh yes, I promised. It was actually because it's not what he goes by on here, but it's what he goes by on his website. I don't know. I don't know. There was a part of me that kind of, and also that way he might notice it more likely. I was actually thinking of putting a name in the title, but that's actually 1 minute here. Let me just try something here. Yeah, that's the other thingy probably. I think. Okay. So, um, that very talented musician. I haven't heard much, but the video quality seems better than the first couple I saw. It doesn't have to be posted, but and what was that? Oh, right, hearing about right, but I've covered it recently. Anyway, so yeah, so basically, I mean, I'm still within that window that I said, because if I'd started at 10, I may have still been rolling, but I started at like 10:15, 10:20 something. So I was curious to see if he, you know, if not, he bet hopefully and likely has a good reason, because he actually kind of made note of it. I noticed, and seemed quite curious. He was very thankful for, even though he maybe didn't process some of them or understand some of them, he did others, and he was very thankful for me being there and the energy I was bringing. Um, some seemed neutral, and I mean, I heard one the other day, I'm going to make you wait 6 minutes because you're asking if I read any of the comments, and kind of speaking in like word salads for a bit there too. But and yes, I did read that you said musician. I mean, you didn't even say hi at the time, and it was like 15 minutes later, and then the 6 minutes was not 6 minutes, and I decided not to care. But that's somebody else I'm talking about, and then there's Tammy. but but yeah, basically, and I mean, all I say about that individual is it's interesting that somebody else that I came across on here had seen her. But is that well? First of all, also I don't think somebody should have a live button when the video is not live. Um, um, and neither is like we're gonna watch it. First, and the other one made me a moderator. I was really kind of surprised. He said it very nice. I'm not surprised by that, but anyway, basically, and I want to remember to hit the notification bell on that one. But um, apparently, I didn't mean, and they noticed it. And actually, I noticed the things that were saying that they noticed it too. Um, yeah, but anyway, so I really didn't have a whole lot of ideas for this, you know, truth be told, but I had the availability at the moment. Um, it may have been an otherwise okay time to go to the store. I don't know. I mean, everybody works different schedules, and some people are unemployed on disability, or away from work sick, or whatever it is. You know, uh, but I just don't know if the weather would hold out. So I'm getting quite an inkling to go outside for a bit, but maybe not do the errand kind of thing. We got a second like. I appreciate it. Not sure if it's get the last name wrong, but I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, and he and others, might be hoping to hear music from me, whether they've heard music from me or not. With unless you make a song request, I'm not really sure what songs I do. Um, but I guess what it is that I'm a man and a person of my word for the most part. And so when and it was nice that he sounded curious and willing to visit for a while, but maybe I'm a little bit too late, or something came up for him, like I say. But I mean, I like I said, I almost didn't remember, but you know, I said I would, and I try and be. Oh, I appreciate the celebration, Mark. I'm not seeing. I mean, I'm seeing one comment. Hi friend, I appreciate that. I'm seeing emojis. I otherwise don't. It doesn't indicate, and I see 2 likes. I appreciate that too, but it otherwise doesn't indicate that anybody's watching right now. So if you can comment, that'd be great. Um, what I sometimes do is look at the comments via the phone. But as I was mentioning earlier, I was browsing live streams, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, maybe I shouldn't do it this time of year because you never know. But really, you never do anyway. Oh, Pajari Skanda. Hi, how are you? But yeah, I want to kind of keep it on the screen that I'm on. Uh, Probably for video, but yeah, it's going to be low probably. I wish I knew how to. I think today I did it, and maybe I'll try this way later. There's a guy I follow on here. There's two actually. Although I haven't been in one's videos for a while, and they do kind of classical meditative guitar, which is lovely and a skill. However, it's like my other friend who does songwriting, but he, I mean, they do look at comments. They do, just not. Sometimes they're very focused on what they're doing, and so Pajari, where are you from? It sounds like a Middle Eastern name, perhaps. Glad to have you here. First time. Anywho, but this one guy, Brandon, I think his name is. When I went to one of his lives, I was able then to scroll. But like I say, I like to sit on a live for a little bit and try and get a vibe of the chat and the person doing it. I do sometimes jump into the chat maybe a little bit quick. I like to, maybe I get a maybe sometimes I get a good vibe too quickly. However, I'll show my shirt again because just so that you know mine, and just in case you can't read it on the screen, it says kindness, lending someone your no, reminding someone of that you're haven't read it in a while. I know what the basic idea of it is. And you said from India, but deleted it. There's no problem that you're from India. I don't mind. I'm from Canada, by the way. You've been kindness, lending someone your strength instead of reminding them of their weakness. So that's the kind of mottos I like. I wouldn't mind having more shirts with either nice phrases or funny phrases, but and that actually could be an interesting question. What is the funniest T-shirt you've seen? And it could also be a song idea, but I looked into it last time I thought of it, and for whatever reason decided not to do it. But it's a country song, um, and the line is "She loves me like a band on like the band on her T-shirt." It's kind of a very clever lyric, right? So Pajari, have you ever been to the channel before? And yeah, I have. I've met a few people from India lately. One in person and a couple online, and one or two of them follow me as well. Actually, I think one does. Um, I'm just being wonky for some reason. And what's really cool, like I don't do a lot of, well, I don't really do any Indian music. I don't play it. That's the thing. I don't mind it, I suppose, for a little while at a time anyway. But if you have any song requests, feel free. A couple of the people that I know in India are quite into various music, um, and I play a lot of different stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's kind of neat when somebody who's from India asks a white guy to play Indian music, and I think that if they can, great, and some maybe do, but it's a little bit of a reach, for lack of a different way to say it, right? Like, I mean, it's not my culture and it's not the country I live in, so um, I mean, it's the same with a lot of other cultures actually too. Like, I mean, I may like the culture, I like their music and such, but I don't play it. Maybe that's something I'll do in my the next decade that I'm approaching, new age category and new year. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be any good at it, to be honest. Um, and I'd want to do it justice. I can't tell because I think your comment and the reactions came in, even though it's not indicating anyone's watching at the moment. But it does that sometimes, I've noticed. Are you still here? I'm just looking at something here for a moment on my other device, if you couldn't tell. Hmm. Wonder if that could be a topic. Um, I just saw kind of a topic suggestion that might be a good one. I don't know what I'd do with it. But that being said, I also don't know entirely what I'm thinking when it was partly something I watched, which I think I alluded a little bit to, but it was also kind of a general statement because I think that it's an interesting topic. You know, um, that a lot of us naturally do. It's are we doing it well or to the best of our ability? That's really what I think it is. Um, because we're all, whether it's online or in person, we are all trying to get a sense of others, even people we're familiar with. We're always processing, what they're what they're putting out, what they're expressing, what they're doing, and that's just it's natural, and we do it with anybody, um, and I think that that's a good thing, especially when we do it well, because we can learn a lot about people. We can learn a lot about behaviors. We can relate. We can find common ground. Um, and um, I think that it's important to not only to grow as an individual, but also uplift others, and try and understand, if they're not like completely nonsensical, to try and understand. Like that example I gave a little earlier, uh, he'd said something about a delay in the comments, and I had said something about how I'd just gotten here a few minutes ago, and I hadn't heard him reading any yet, and I was just curious because that's something I appreciate what people, what kind of content they're live streaming and stuff for the most part. Not everybody, obviously, but a lot of people. But I'm also very much about being there to socialize and chat and get to know people and have a good time. And sometimes it's more the chat that does it, and the performer or the person isn't really paying attention. But it's nice when they do, right? And that's what I bring. I try and bring the same to my viewers. So, um, but yeah, like I didn't know that guy. Uh, I thought, oh, right, right, right. I didn't know that. Yeah, like there may have been a technical delay, and then also there may have been which menus will always display the same way. I don't think that our one viewer is still here. I don't know what if you. Um, but anywho, yeah. So it's a. I think what's also an important thing is to realize. Again, I think it's something that we all do, but to realize that we don't all, or we don't always get the right. We don't always think the right thing first. I think that's maybe what I'm trying to say. Like, we can observe something or somebody and instantly form a thought and hold on to it so strongly that we sometimes maybe don't realize that we could be wrong. I'm thinking of that one I watched, and if you recognize my YouTube name and think, well, he watched me today, I may or may not be talking about you. I mean, I enjoyed most of what I was watching, uh, and that, but kind of just having a laid back day for the most part. But well, I mean, I'm trying to be that way anyway. Um, but yeah, basically, I wish that song I thought of was what I wanted to do though, because then I could have at least put a song in this. Hopefully, I might, but I might not go much longer today or right now. The weather, and I was around a lot of people the other day, so I mean, although a couple of them had already been sick last week. Although it was the last of the series, so they may have still been a little bit and just didn't want to miss two. But well, I mean, people have different or no sleep routine and schedule. So I mean, people that are quite a vast time difference from us, where it's probably very late at night there, um, might still be on. Speaking of someone from India there, um, and I appreciated that person. I think they were one of the likes because there's only been two people here, I think, so far, uh, and there's two likes actually too, and they um, um, yes. Okay. Sorry if I just trailed off there what I was saying, but so yeah, like I say, this was mostly for um, a fellow YouTuber that I hope would tune in. I'm not sure if it's going to happen though. Not while live anyway, but I think he also had said that if it's not live, then you can check it out later. And this isn't super far into the video yet, but I guess I would also state that, well, I mean, I think that it might be obvious, but if it's a really long video, it might not be that this isn't music. And I guess I did tag him, didn't I? I think I did. So, um, I don't know if it matters what part of a country. I don't think so. I'm going to roll for a little bit longer because when I said 9 to 10, I think he did say that's 5 to 6 his time. And when I look at time in Sweden, it's 5 to 5, I think, now. So I'm not really making sense of that, but but let's just give it a moment. No, oh, maybe not much of them, but it'll do. 30. Okay, yeah. Did I say that? 29, 30, 30, 31. degree. I'm just getting an inkling to go outside, and it's not winter yet. So I'm not going outside. We get pretty wintry winters here, and I'm not a big fan of them. Every now and then you have to go out, but I rather not. Yeah, the stores may have been quiet. Our mom's been upstairs already for a little while, but just while I was up there simply. So, um, trying to keep him up there when we leave so that he doesn't, as a puppy or whatever, get into things. But, oh, it's not bad out. And, there really is no clouds and like no a few white ones, but no, doesn't look like rain at all, to be quite honest. And of course, it is end of October, almost November. So, I mean, it is going to be a little cooler out, but I don't know. No, I got a gift card from a relative for something, and so it's kind of like free money, and I'd kind of like to use it. Well, I can, and if it's really nice out, even though the yard's kind of finishing up for the year or the season, but the year, yeah. Even though if it's really nice out on the weekend, like one or both of us here might want to be outside and not stuck in a store, but it makes getting there easier. Like I say, since we'd be on foot, so I don't know. But I might be reading hours and season two, so I don't know. I'll be recognized. He didn't. I mean, he maybe just forgot that. Like, I don't know. He didn't stick around. He didn't say I subbed, but I'm going to sleep. So I don't know what to think of that. Sometimes the chats are real busy, and sometimes they're really quiet. You know, a little busier than this would be nice. But also be nice. Oh, look at that! Asking sometimes you shall receive. So, like I say, I'm doing this especially. I hate to repeat myself, but in case people tuning in don't know yet, I'm doing this because a fellow YouTuber. I think you left, so I'm not gonna say anything. I did take that step, which would hopefully mean that I'm just having difficulties with this one device of mine. But not it says, please, if it please restart Messenger. I thought it just did that when it crashed. Um, like again, if I think about, oh, what would he like to see? Because I made so that maybe he might see this. I don't know how to notifications. Um, Music probably is just I wasn't exactly feeling musical. Um, and then the podcast I watched today, I think there was a couple songs in both that people were mentioning in the chat. At the moment, I can't remember what they were though, and otherwise it was mostly classical stuff, which I don't play myself. That's more G in the GNC. Um, hmm. I might have to look and see if their chat shows, and then go from there. See if maybe I can do some of them. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I didn't notice because it doesn't show like my titles afterwards. Sure, but during I don't see mine on the screen either. You would before you clicked into it probably, but then again, if you're scrolling the same way I was doing earlier today, apparently not because when I look at my watch history, um, I I don't think it was a cultural thing. I mean, he was saying things with a pretty serious, straight face, and straight tone, and being a little bit confusing, to be honest. But it seems like that one guy may have been just doing comedy, and it, yeah, may have just been doing comedy. But I didn't realize that it wasn't, like his like his vocal tones didn't really imply that, if that makes sense. Um, like when I say something funny, I kind of giggle a little bit, and maybe my vocal tone changes, kind of thing. Um, it was right after that, was it not? Hmm. Well, then either way, it won't. Whether I scroll back to it or don't, it won't. Okay. So that made me longer, but I think that was an issue that the other mod had more than the guy who was doing the video had. But anyway, so it's not showing now. But this one is. So let me just quickly look here. Oh, that was only 30 minutes long, that one. 14, 15. I don't know. It's amusing, that individual, but no, I don't know if it's just too soon or what, but that wasn't to me because I hadn't tuned in yet. But anywho, that would require playing it and listening to it, and deciding which I might well do. I actually did want to go back in the notification bell. So um, to get ideas. The chat wasn't displaying at the moment, so I couldn't look at it for such. But I'm used to it. So I'm just kind of thinking through my day, and if there's, but then I look kind of towards the side of the house I'm sitting on now, and it looks brighter than kind of in the front does, and it is supposed to rain today. So, like I say, doing it on foot, I don't. I think I shouldn't because I might like pina coladas, but getting stuck in the rain ain't that fun. Actually, I don't like pina coladas that much either, to be honest. Is that a song? Well, it is a song, but is that a song I want to do? No, not really. Suggest another one, please. do, 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 do. Is that song? I thought there's another song that kind of does that kind of. Something about midnight. Maybe it is that song. Huh. It could very well be. And it very could be. Well, yeah, so um, I'll just say very quickly here that the workshop series that I finished up the other day, I did make three connections, and it meant some. I don't know if it more kind of kind of connect to each other, but I haven't mentioned my YouTube yet to them. I don't think she'll be at 6. I don't know how long it's been though, but she might still be on bereavement. But and then who's the other one? Right, I think she might be retired. And then the other one, I saw a photo photographer that has a photo that I feel mixed about, to be honest, as a musician and such. And it kind of made me unsure about reaching out. Her website looks like it's still in the process of being built, but there is another way. But basically, it's this kid sitting in a tree with a guitar. And I mean, yeah, kids may fall out of trees and may or may not get hurt, depending. Um, which, I mean, I guess kids will, and anybody will, but it's more likely with kids. So, I mean, you kind of accept that. But, or I don't know, it feels like it's more likely. I guess it depends on the adult too, though. But basically, as a musician, what I also felt is he falls out of the tree with the guitar, and also how did he get up there with it? Maybe they used a ladder and then took the ladder out of the way or whatever for the photo, although it could have worked, I think, but or handed it up to him afterwards. And maybe maybe that's the thing. It's true. It's true. It is very very true that maybe she just handed it to him just to get the photo, and then he handed it back. Which as opposed to doing a bunch. I mean, how many poses can you do while you're on a tree limb? You know, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I still kind of feel a little bit mixed about it, because what if something happened to the guitar? Um, but um, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the guitar, but and it wasn't like it was like a super nice guitar either. It wasn't not one, but I don't remember what the brand was. Or I mean, it looked like a nice acoustic, essentially. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many people would be curious for me to look up what the type of guitar was. Um, but I do play guitar and I play piano and I sing, and those are the main ones. We got a keyboard recently, so there's all kinds of stuff we can do with that. So if you have any song requests, feel free to put them. Um, I'm not really a metal fan, and we can leave that at that. Hard rock, sure. Pop, country, folk. Not much of a jazz and blues guy. I don't play it, at least. But there's still lots of options within those other genres. And with the keyboard, you can use some of the preset built-ins. Oh, hey, Thomas, how are you? You can use some of the presets that are built into the keyboard and take a song and give it a different genre. And I could play with that a little bit if you'd like. How are you doing today, Thomas? Is something happening with Zach? Um, yeah, so if you have a song request, maybe something a bit more, I don't know, if this will make sense, but dynamic than House of the Rising Sun. I'm glad you requested it and that I did it for you, but a lot of people like the song. I don't hate it. I don't love it either. um, Other than that, what's up? Like I was mentioning earlier before you got here, the weather forecast looks like it's different than what it actually is. I wanted to do an errand, but I'd have to do it by foot because I don't drive, and I don't really want to get rained on while I'm doing it. So, so it's kind of, and I'm noticing it's heightening my desire to be outside. I guess I don't have to do the errand; I could just be outside. So, if you have a couple of song requests, I'll wrap this up with either from one or both of the viewers here. Uh, with us two, at most four songs, or at least two, and then yeah, like I said, it's a blue sky out though, so that's maybe a song. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bum bum, bluebirds singing this song, old song, but nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things looking so right. Noticing the day hurrying by when you're in love. My, how they fly, oh blue. I guess that's kind of jazz, isn't it? Come to think of it. And, a lot of people might actually say that I have in fact, I think someone did recently say that I have a jazzy type voice, like a smoky, jazzy voice. So, and I have thought that actually in the past. I don't disagree. Don't forget to like if you haven't yet. I appreciate you being here. Thomas, you seem to be being a little bit quiet. Um, I know that you prefer the music, whether it's just because you can follow it easier with a language barrier, or you just do. But like I say, this channel's more than that. But always happy to do music. Just don't always got ideas. And I apparently think that classical music might be easier to kind of just noodle with, if that makes sense. Let me put it in a different way because I don't know if you know that phrase. Um, Not to say that you don't, but you might not. Um, yeah, unfortunately, classical music, I don't hate it, and it's really good if you want to be sleepy. I don't play it. G and the GNC does, but he's at work. Um, but yeah, I mean, every now and then I can improvise and sound decent, but I don't know. I guess what I could ask you though, this would be an interesting challenge for me, perhaps, is which sometimes I'm up to those. Um, I don't know if it would matter whether it was on guitar or piano. We don't have a classical guitar. We have a guitar. I don't know how much it would matter that it's not a classical guitar, but on the piano, what would you say is a good beginner piece of classical music? I can't guarantee because even though G has a bit of an organizational system to his music, like the shelf might be alphabetical and then the stuff on the piano and stuff might not be. But if I can find it, I mean, there might be ways to do it online probably, but possibly even free. Like I think he uses free scores, but I've never used the site myself. But if I can find it, I could try that. But your better bet would be to ask for non-classical music from me, really. More than words. Okay. Um I'll do a snippet of that one. And we'll keep looking for songs that maybe I'll do in full. I just for some reason when I hear that song, I think of actions speak louder than words. And although I don't disagree with that, we can misunderstand someone's actions, we can misunderstand someone's words. People are complex beings, going back to that kind of topic for a moment. So I'm being literal. I realize I'm being very literal, but let me just sing a little bit of it. I also haven't heard that song in ages, but saying I love you is enough to show you how I feel more than words is all I ever need to make you see that you wouldn't have to say, but you should, that you love me, 'cause I already know. What would you say? Some people might think that that could be a hard note to reach. I've been singing for a long time, but that's a little vocal lesson. Because I got my page the other day, so I can give a couple little freebies here and there. Little vocal lesson for those that are wanting vocal tips. Like I could have went. I don't know if in the moment I can, but I could have said, "What would you do?" Something like that. Although that does feel, I think it works, but it feels a little high. But it's coming from the right, taking a breath, coming from the right note before it. What would, pausing, you say, you can even double the note, say, so does that make sense? Next song, please. um, yeah. Hmm. Also, curious question to anybody who sees this, including the two people that are here right now. Are there songs that you feel like people do too often? Like you're like, oh, there's that song again. Like, I mean, I hate to diss Johnny Cash, for instance. I know he's really well liked, and I don't hate him, but oh, it almost sounds like a heckler saying, "Do some Johnny Cash." There is a song though, a local band that they played locally. And they have a song that they original song, and the chorus kind of has this part in it that goes Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash. Da, 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 da. They also have a funny song. This is going to sound funny, perhaps, but too much pepper, one pair of jeans. Thomas, are you the one that's still here? It might be kind of late. I have a question. Interestingly, Poland is near Sweden, correct? Because this all started because of a Swedish musician that I know. He's pretty sweet, actually. Like yourself. And as I mentioned, he had said that he might be available around this time, and I'd almost forgotten. But I remembered, so here I am. And here he is not. But you're here, and you're from the same part of the world, so maybe let Axel know, eh? Yeah, keep the song request coming. I think I probably will go out in the yard a little bit in a bit. But I also think I don't, like I say, I don't have the energy to walk the 25 minutes or whatever to the store. Walk the 25 minutes in the store. Walk the 25 minutes back. I just not feeling that today, Chronic fatigue syndrome, anemia, stress, such and such. It can really, and actually I recently discovered somebody on here who has mental health based songs, including one about chronic fatigue and long COVID. And I thought that's kind of interesting. I don't feel like, maybe kind of subtly there are songs about mental health, but I don't feel like there's a lot of them around. I know that there's one by a band called Goji, uh, and because I guess they're famous enough, they were able to use a very similar styling to another band. I feel like there's one or two others, but I can't think of what they are. Play my favorite. I don't choose favorites, but I like the two people that are here right now. And I do hope that you push the like button. It helps, for people that are looking at the numbers and statistics, which sometimes things are glitchy and it's not accurate anyway. And sometimes it's best just to decide for ourselves, right? In fact, always, I would say, for the most part, always, usually. But yeah, no favorites. I don't really, maybe back in the day I had favorites, but I don't know what it is about my brain that struggles to. I meant to have the radio on earlier today for longer, but then I got watching stuff. Personally, I don't like requests. And why do you think that is? I seem to need them. I mean, not always. Sometimes I'll have ideas. Sometimes. Or if I look at a certain band, and I believe that was by, I can almost remember that one that you mentioned a moment ago, that I sang a moment ago. If I mention a certain artist, a musician, band kind of thing, um, then sometimes it's okay. Yeah, I know a few of their songs, so I'll do those. But I don't know if I know many others of the ones that does more than words. And I kind of feel like I might not. Maybe I should, but they almost feel like they were a one hit wonder at one point in time. Do you have any favorite one hit wonders? And are they truly one hit wonders? There's another question. Sorry, sometimes I'm fast and curious. Fast and the Furious, Fast and the Curious. But I am curious why you don't like to get song requests. I mean, if mostly you do classical, then maybe most of it is just not stuff that you may know it, but you don't play it, right? But I will admit a little bit of my musical background. I started on piano when I was very young. Actually, there's a couple musicians there, a couple, and I follow them. Um, and they did just a chat video once, Q&A kind of thing. And I didn't quite agree with, what the guy was saying, such as when the guy was saying, you have to have the right piano, and it depends, what kind of room you have it in or something. I mean, he was very like, and I don't know, he was very particular, but in that. But now I teach now. Oh, that's cool. Oh, really? Such as? Okay, so you should be full of requests at least, even if you don't like to get them yourself. I'm open to it. But yeah, but the thing of the matter is, as far as learning classical these days, I maybe did myself a bit of a disservice. The whole not driving thing, the whole um, not liking bars very much. I It's made it hard to reach musical goals. It really has. That I've had. I'm more of a small venues, cafes, restaurants, little events kind of thing, but there hasn't been a lot of that happening for me. But it's kind of like, and it's not because, I'm submitting and they're not liking what I'm submitting. It's just not happening in general. But so I'm so glad for YouTube. But so back then, I used to know, back in the day, I used to know like how to do both hands, fully. And every now and then I can fake it pretty good. Uh, but I also do guitar. And a lot of the times I'm just doing the chords. I mean, a lot of people can't do that. But a lot of times I'm just doing the chords. And if one of you plays guitar, if the other person would like to learn, I'd be happy to show you one or two chords for free if you'd like. I know that they're all over the internet, but I'd be really honored to show you your first two chords. um, but anywho, so basically, but I don't know if it's something you're interested in. That's the thing. But basically, so I do the chords, and then I started for a few years now. I've been doing the chords when I play piano too, and not really reading sheet music anymore. So I could say, tell me an easy classical piece. First of all, do we define easy the same way? Second of all, I think my biggest difficulty is when it goes off of the staff lines. And it's like, I guess I feel like the lines are a bit of a marker as to what note it is, and I kind of remember the phrases that go with it. But once it goes beyond those, I'm like, I have no clue. I could guess. And if I took the time and I guessed and I knew the piece and I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds right, and I wrote it in, maybe it's something I'll start getting into. But you can look on this channel. I mean, after this podcast or sometime soon, you can look on this channel. Not a lot in the live section, um, but in the videos section in general, which would not include like the lives have their own tab, right? Like the trailer of this video of this channel is a classical. G took the photos for it and just playing the music. Um, and I, you might be able to see playlists that might. I can't remember the last time I looked at our playlists. I don't feel like it was like maybe 3 months ago, something like that. So you can see them there for sure. But I'm glad that you like non-classical too. If you see me, I appreciate those suggestions. So if you got one or two more, I'll do those and then I'll wrap up. But I also know that it can sometimes rain even when it's kind of sunny out. So I'm just thinking it could be one of those days. So glad to have your company since I'm not going out anywhere. Oh, you did, eh? Okay, cool. So I saw that you were mentioning that song, and I know you know who does it too, but I didn't realize you were saying you were playing it as well. Sure is a blessing to get music teaching opportunities. Now, the 2 likes I think were there before you tuned in, so I hope you will remember to. I can tell that you are liking it, but again, people that see this afterwards, especially if the chat doesn't show, it's an important feature. We've had two of you here for about 20, 30 minutes, I think, almost. So that's really nice. How did you find Tzox's chat? Just randomly, YouTube suggested it to me, I think. Yeah, it's. I mean, so I find most stuff, especially these days. But as far as music, especially. But if I and I'll watch. I did recently come across a guy. I know that he's of faith, so I might do a lot of faith music. But he's also seems fairly dynamic. He's late 20s, early 30s, and has 5 kids, which is ironic because I was just talking with somebody about somebody else I know who has 5 kids. Two of them are engaged now, though, and the youngest, which is I just found out the other day, is engaged, has got to be like 18 or 19, maybe 20. Some people don't waste any time with that kind of stuff, eh? but um, but I'm gonna check out some of his stuff for ideas. So tune back later today because I might even do that next while I'm having my lunch. But uh, but yeah, I mean, but every now and then I'll look up a song, and I used to, and every now and then still am in the habit of if it's a certain song, I'll look up cover versions instead. Sometimes I like to see the original music video. I almost don't recommend it with Pink stuff though. Like it's some of them might be all right, some of them are a bit like, whoa, I saw more than I wanted, Um, but Thomas, is that still you here? So you think of a famous Thomas that does music other than yourself. Or Tzox for that matter, but alas, I cannot. Can you think of any songs about wellness out of curiosity? Because that's something else that this channel is all about. And music can bring that anyway. But, oh, celebrate, celebrate. Thank you. Is that from you, Tzox? Or, I mean, Thomas or somebody else? I appreciate it. Music can, be about that anyway. But is there specific songs about wellness and adversity, um, um, hope, those kind of things? I know there's got to be, but I just can't think of them at the moment. Just going to quickly look at this and then I'll look back at the chat. But yeah, that's funny, the Swedish Polish combination. And actually, I'm probably going to have some food from kind of that area of the world too later today. I got the meatiest sub ever. by my definition anyway, the other day, and I had some in the sub, and I'm using it for 2 more meals. To be honest, there's something kind of that it reminds me of, which doesn't make it appetizing, but it also kind of reminds me of bacon. And if either anybody sees this and they're vegan or vegetarian, I accept that you are. I mostly am too, to be honest. But and I get it, and we can leave it at that. But it's not going to stop people from eating meat. But I have ARFID, and I am a bit of a picky eater because of that. And so it's important for me to be incorporating things in my diet for variety and health, to be honest. Um, I eat too many carbs. I do. And it's probably why I have celiac. But, you know, I'm not the greatest cook. And this picky thing, which I didn't. In my teens and my 20s, I wasn't as picky. I don't think it's when I finally realized being on the autism spectrum. I mean, although that can connect with it, I don't think it was like, okay, well, if I'm on the spectrum, I'm picky then. I mean, this is me. This is me saying it, but seafood, gross. Most meat, so I don't want to cook it myself most of the time. Um, that being said, I don't eat as many vegetables as I should either. It's like, what do you eat? Pizza, pasta, bread, muffins, cake. I know, terrible, but um, and I wouldn't be surprised if I have or might develop diabetes. This is true. Yesterday, I was at a workshop, and the lady. I don't want to be super specific, but or do I? I don't know. Let's just say that she had a partner. I appreciate it. Yeah, you're rushing off to bed, or what? She had a partner that had diabetes. Even if he'd gotten that call from the doctor sooner, I mean, if you get it and it's not managed, or you get it and you have it for long enough, it will. Don't forget to like. I don't think you've liked those 2 likes were here before you came. I hate to keep asking, but you know, some people they look at YouTube as a numbers thing. It's like, how many likes has this guy? How many views? How many views? That doesn't even really hugely matter to me. If they view but they don't indicate that they like it, or put a comment indicating that they found something that they enjoyed or liked in it, to me that's just a number. Anyway, but yeah, no. So she, you know, and there was a couple bits of irony, but I've lost somebody to diabetes. They were only 32. But the truth be told, I'll tell you both here now. You know, and one of you kind of knows me. The other one I don't believe does. May not have even ever been here before, but you've been listening to me for a bit, and I appreciate it. I am ambivalent about my health. I mean, diabetes and celiac, those 2 things, the best things you can do aside from taking vitamins is eat better. Again, I'm not going to force myself to eat something I'm not into. I mean, yeah, I could just make it a certain way, but I'm still going to know it's in there. I'm still going to have to cook with it, and it's amazing that I'm even eating that sub, to be honest. You know, we tried this new place, and it was a lot of turkey and spicy things with peppers. Guess I could have asked for the peppers to be taken out. Just one jumped out more than the other one, and it isn't quite what I thought I was going to get. It was a beef brisket, and I tried to ask my step. Actually, I says, "What does a beef brisket cut mean?" And okay, but anyway, and he says it's just he didn't give a very good answer, very specific answer, really. Um, and he's walking at a bit more of a limp now, and speaks a little differently since his strokes and that, but still drives. You have a keyless car. I didn't think the other day. I mean, that's not great if it was to get stolen. It's great if you've lost your keys and you need to go somewhere. But anywho, yeah. So I thought it was going to be like, and again, well, I've already addressed that. I thought it was going to be like a roast beef. That's what I thought brisket kind of meant, like a not stringy, but kind of stringy. You know what I mean? And it was more like I said, kind of like bacon. But honestly, hope I'm not turning myself off of it now because I don't want to waste it. It was using a coupon, and the person I was with, it was buy one 50% off the other one or whatever, or buy one get one free, and the other person paid. Um, but that's what's pretty. This is what I think. But it's too much to waste it. And with salt, it was really good with the burgers the other day, and a little bit of yogurt because I kind of prefer it over salt. I've been starting to eat yogurt lately. That's something I have been starting to eat. I feel mixed about it. I'm still There was an apple chocolate one, or an apple chocolate. That might be interesting. Yeah, probably not. Banana chocolate one that I tried, and I couldn't figure out. I had a couple cups of it, or actually, I was putting it on on a cookie. But I had some on 2 different days, and I think there was a bit of me that was like, peanut butter chocolate banana is supposed to be good, and it's like something tastes odd about this. And I think it was actually, like I said this morning, I think it was that there was an actual banana in it. Maybe like a banana puree, I guess. I don't know. It really, like, because bananas don't really have like juice, really. Not really, right? But it was like so not noticeably there, other than that it did kind of taste like it, that it it was messing with my mind. Yeah, maybe he tried to like, but just didn't work. But stay happy and keep each other. Anyway, um, the banana, yeah, it needed to. I mean, I don't eat bananas very often, but it needed to be the actual banana, I think, for me to like it. And then, actually, ironic, the tea coincidences the other day, and then today I was looking at a video that showed a banana. Get that, eh? No, I know that probably sounded funny, but nobody's watching at the moment, and this is deep in. So, but yeah, so basically, yep. Talking about food, though, I think I am going to have lunch very shortly. But no, but it kind of, I don't want to gross people out, but you don't have to eat this either. And if you disagree, well, eat away then. Like it's already been made, it's already been you know put to market. So I think vegans and vegetarians, come to think of it, should be thankful that since they can't stop it from happening, no matter what they do, at least it is, yeah, I mean, it gets digested and this and that, but at least it is being utilized, right? I always think it's funny language when somebody calls the ground the floor, like they say the floor outside, but that's language thing, I think. Or they say, or like an expiry date or whatever, food says use by. Well, can I eat it? I wouldn't say eating is using, but I remember once that there's a lady, see, it's kind of cutting a little bit, from Nova Scotia or something, and she used to say et instead of eat. But anywho, but yeah, it looks like tons. It's gross. So there you have it there. Yeah. I could type this in, that it will be at 1:15. Need a bit of fresh air. But I probably will eat soon, it's true. Yeah, I guess I could have, you know, it's starting to look a bit more like it's clouding up and going to be raining soon. So I guess I could have done and come back if I was this, but I didn't. Of course, when it's sunnier out, like I'm actually having to turn the light on in this room now because the sun's starting to go in. But when it's sunnier out, it means warmer, right? So look at that. It was just a minute. But if it had been nice, it may have been a few more. Nicer outside. Anyway, it's kind of deep into this to say more about the topic of human behavior. I think I did say a little earlier something that I think is powerful enough, just to be mindful of our behavior and others. Realize that our first thoughts about somebody may or may not be accurate. And unfortunately, a lot of people's minds are kind of looking for things to dislike or to feel negative about. I guess certainly some people don't do it that way, but some do, and maybe it's because they're kind of hoping that they can go back into their safe little bubble and not have to try and figure somebody out or social anxiety or whatever it is. I mean, it's these are true things, but I think that if we allow ourselves to, I know that if we allow ourselves to, we can also connect with some pretty cool people and find out that we have things in common with them. So I welcome you to do that here. In fact, I'm just thinking of a connection that I have with somebody, and I said something which, if it had been a few days ago, may have sounded a bit more awkward to her, and she saw that I said it and didn't say anything to it, though. But we have since been chatting, and she really hasn't brought it up either. When she saw it but didn't say anything, I kind of thought, okay, maybe. And I think I tried to actually take the message back because it wasn't that it was mean. It was just that I don't know if I should say it. Basically, let's just say this. She has a son who looks like he's more in his 20s, and but just turned 18 or 19. And I says he's sure maturing fast or something like that. And a mother's always going to think, and I not a mother, although I can be kind of maternal. Mine wasn't as much. Well, kind of yes and no, but is always going to think, oh, that's my baby, and I don't want him to, and but you know, like I say, he looks a little bit older than he is, but he is, I guess, if he's 19, then he's not an adult yet, but he's close to it. And, I said he looks like a nice guy or something like that as well. But, I mean, but I think she just said, he's not a baby anymore. And I get where he's coming from, and it's fine. It's fine. Maybe she also told herself, this is where it's good to kind of give ourselves a little bit of a talk sometimes. She maybe said, that's not his kid. I'm thinking of it because I'm the mother, and a kid is, I guess, the wrong phrase anyway. But, you know, um, or things like that other podcast I was mentioning, he could have just said, maybe he didn't, you know, wasn't here earlier. I know I was reading people's comments, but maybe he just tuned in and he doesn't know. Maybe he's just asking curiously. He's not trying to be annoying. You know, I don't know. People are strange, stranger or not. And speaking of, um, I think Maxie might be rolling soon, so I should probably wrap her up, put a bow on it. But is that what I? Is that what I wanted? Is that where I want to wrap it up? I'm gonna put this down. I can try and have that open for a little bit. Although I really rather not do that. Maybe I'll have that open and eventually. So, um, there's been a bit of activity in this. It's been kind of quiet, but I am going to be wrapping up soon. If anybody has a song request, and it looked like there was just the one person there, and I think they just left. So, gave it a few seconds. If this was their first time here, they gave it a few seconds. Is that really long enough to decide? I think not. But anywho, so certainly not the craziest one on the internet, that's for sure. I'm not saying you are, but I'm certainly not the. But some people they feed off that. People must not thinking about me very often because they don't seem to feed off of me in that way, which is appreciated. Because I might be a little eccentric and quirky, but I'm not that weird. But I think that people should also realize that as amusing as it maybe could be, it's not worth it to do that. It really isn't. And there are other people that are trying to put out good content that sometimes is a little bit quietly received who maybe deserve that attention more. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And that actually reminds me. I don't know if it would matter if I called during the noon hour, but that reminds me of a phone call I'd like to make about signing up for something. So, although I suppose I should just make sure, like the one who would likely be my ride to it was already out of town a couple months ago and doesn't travel that much. So I'm thinking she'll be available to bring me. But I suppose just in case she's not, I shouldn't sign up because then I have to worry about canceling. But the spaces fill up. So I think maybe I would rather, and then I can always, like I say, cancel if she can't, or I can't figure out how to get there. Might be easy enough by bus, though, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see. No, but then it's not. Okay. No, I probably won't. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Take care. Have a good day.